And it is our expectations that we are not able to see His face. See, Elijah prayed to see God. And He came in so many different ways. Now I want to see your face. Finally, He did not show His face. He showed a back, the shadow of His back. That's pretty much it. See, He insisted. He insisted. He is not giving up. He was relentless. And He was being a child as He did that. I really want to see Superman fly. Show me.
Right.
It's not television. It's not that. It's not in real time.
Mm-hmm.
I want to see the Superman fly.
Yeah.
Show me. So Elijah was not giving up until he sees the Superman fly.
Long way.
But that's the way it is. That's the way they are. See, even in my case, in the beginning, when I started the journey, I was well into the journey, really. I wanted to see His face. But every time I wanted to see His face, I don't see that. I don't see Him. But, when I was not expecting it, I used to see it. You see, nowadays, I don't expect, I don't see it either. Because I'm always in that conscious level, where seeing His actual face is, I would be disappointed if I do.
Disappointed?
Yeah.
Why?
Because I am so much involved at the conscious level. You see, and for me, seeing His face is taking me back to material level.
Okay.
See, you need to do a lot of transcension of your material orders in order to be lifted into the conscious level. You see what I mean?
I
can. So when you are in that conscious level, and if you are running into material encounters and all of that, that means you have done something wrong and you're moving back to the basics again. You see, that's really what it means. So you don't need to, you just know it. You know whether God is involved or not. You know whether His participation is there or not. You know everything. You see? So how do you actually, even at material, levels, which you are, still in, even at that level, expect not to see His face. Then He, out of His own compassion, will show you His face. And if you were to desire something, desire His emotions, that you feel His emotions. Desire that you feel His love. Desire that you feel His compassion. Desire that you feel His mercy.
Yes.
Desire those things. Don't expect to see His face. Then He will reveal it to you when you are ready. You see? That's really what it is. See, Jesus says very beautifully in His ministry, telling His apostles, A lot of prophets, there are so many of you, they desire to see what you are seeing. But you don't appreciate what you're seeing. In other words, it's not that they don't appreciate it, but the value of it, they don't see it. But a lot of prophets, they desire to see what you're seeing. See, so, the expectations and not having expectations, here they are in front of Jesus all the time. They don't have any expectations. And they really don't appreciate that they are looking at something that even the old prophets of yesteryears, they desired so much, but they never saw. The difference is the expectation. What I mean?
That's the key word.
That's the key word. So we should not have that expectation. We should not have that expectation. But again, in your childlike beatitude, if you want to see his face, just nag him. I'm not getting up until you show me your face. It happened to me once. And I desired to see his face and he was not showing it. I stood up on my head and I just told him, I'm not getting down till you show me your face.
You had an expectation.
Yeah, I was crazy too, I mean, probably I can relate to what Elijah felt. Don't show me your thunders, don't show me that, don't show me this. I want to see your face. I want to see who you are. That's it. So, it's, see, God is always a sucker, for our childlike beatitudes. And childlike beatitudes includes a childlike stubbornness also.
Oh, interesting. Okay.
You see, I mean, so if you are stubborn like a child that you have to see his face, let him deal with it. You see, That's what it has to be like. If you have a childlike imagination, if you have childlike stubbornness, if you have childlike dreams, you have childlike that, is the child so real about it? It's not. But it's a child. And when you are like that, not only the parents are suckers, God is also a sucker for that.
Your persistence? Like a child's persistence.
Yeah. When we are like a child, he is. See? In other words, whatever that I'm saying you now, it should not be valued as something technical. It's not. Prayer itself is not about technicalities. We need to rise beyond that. One way of looking at it is pray like a child. And the other way is pray without any expectations. When you are in spiritual journey, pray for the emotions of God, that you experience the emotions of God. Again, same prayer without expectations. Love like the way God loves. Love for that, pray for that craziness. Totally irrational craziness. You need to pray for that. you know.
Give me an example of that from your own life.
What?
Praying with craziness. Praying.
Praying that you feel just as crazy? Yep. I don't know. I don't remember.
It's okay.
You know.
The concept.
You see, the concept and the understanding, all of that came to me because I was in the presence of other mystics.
Yeah.
And I witnessed what they were like. You know, I witnessed their emotions. And I witnessed their craziness. And I desired so much to be like that.
Yeah.
But whether I have a testimony of it, I don't know. I don't recall.
Yeah.
You know, because it happens when you expect nothing. You know, and that's why I don't even remember when it happened.
Yeah.
You know, and that's how it has to be. That's how it progresses.
Without expectation.
Yeah, without expectation, without memories being a part of it. Because what is memory? You know, memory is something that you are creating orders of what happened, and you're holding on to those orders.
Yeah.
See, in spirituality, there is no order. You're transcending orders. You don't want orders. You know, you want to be quiet. You want to have nothing. So I don't want any memories of whatever happened out of my love or out of my craziness, out of whatever. I don't want any of it.
Right.
So maybe that's why I don't remember. You know. But does it happen? Yes, it does. You know. Yes, it does. If I were to reflect on some of the craziness of mystics, I can think of a lot of things.
Okay.
You know, see, there was one instance I was sitting next to a mystic, and there was a couple who came to see the mystic. You know, so there she was. The couple came, and they kind of knelt in front of her. And I was sitting right next to the mystic on her left side. And I was able to see the faces of these couple. And I remember I was moved with compassion, and I started praying, you know, for those couple. Couple when came, they met with the mystic, and they had questions to ask. I don't remember what the questions were. And the mystic gave them an answer, whatever. I don't remember that either. But people started coming one after the other. And I was sitting next to her, and I was praying for her compassion, the mystics' compassion on those people. That's what I kept on praying, And then after about some time, I wanted to leave, so I left. And the mystic called me right back and wanted me to be sitting next to her again. That I remember. That I remember because I don't know why. I mean, at least I don't remember any orders or anything like that. I remember the whole thing because she called me back. She did not want me to leave.
Right.
And so something happened that got my attention.
Right.
And so I remember the whole thing.
Yeah.
Otherwise I wouldn't possibly even remember that.
Okay. It was so striking.
Yeah. I mean, I was praying within myself, and but she was able to catch that vibe or whatever, and so with that interaction, the whole thing was taking place at the same time. But she didn't like it when I left. That kind of a thing, that happened a few times. I mean, there was one time I remember, there was a paraplegic and came to see her. And there were other people who were actually carrying them. He was not on a stretcher or he was not on anything, but he was pretty much, a total vegetable.
Right.
That's really what it was. And so the relatives, friends, whoever was bringing him, and so they were kind of struggling to bring up to her. And I was standing there and I was looking at all of those things. And for me, how all of these people is going to go there and take in front of her, and how that mystic is going to deal with this person, it was so confusing to me. The whole logistics, it did not make sense. I have seen people carrying, bringing stretchers to her and all of that, and her healing, and, that I have seen.
Yeah.
But here, a paraplegic hand carried by about 3 or 4 people, didn't make sense to me.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know where I got that sense, that strength, and I don't know where I got that inspiration. I don't know anything about what happened to me. I went there and I myself picked him up like he was my child. And I hand carried him and I brought him and I sat, in front of her, and I literally carried him like he was my baby. And, the whole interaction went on, and that's fine. But you know how I remembered that?
No.
It's about 2 or 3 months later. She was telling that when I was in front of her, she turned around and told one of her disciples, a sannyasi. Sannyasi is a disciple, and about how I carried that paraplegic in my hand. And she brought it to my attention. And that's how I remember it. So Anyway, just be empty, that's all. That's really what it is. Make sense?
It does.
A lot of the times you will not remember, and I don't even remember because you asked and I started thinking, when was I like that? See? Praise God.